the central hub of the D.C. Metro thumb with the rhythm of the city's heartbeat, pulsing with the comings and goings of countless individuals as Zach, Riley, and Maya stepped onto the wide concourse. Zach's eyes immediately canvassing the swarms of people, searching for anything out of place. It was here, amidst the murmurs of hasty conversation and the clatter of hurried footsteps, that he suspected the next strike would occur. The encrypted notes warning had been as clear as it was cryptic. There were on borrowed time, Riley, Maya. We need to move fast, he said. Evacuate the area, but keep it subtle. We don't want to cause a panic. He could feel the weight of responsibility pressing down on him, a familiar burden that had only grown heavier since Montrose. Got it, Riley said, her tone equally composed. Her keen eyes began to sweep over the crowds, assessing each person as she moved through them, her NYPD training in full effect. Maya, ever the perceptive profiler, nodded in silent agreement. As Riley and Maya hurried off, Zach's gaze darted from one passerby to another, analyzing their movements, their expression, anything that might betray an ill intent. The air was dense, the electric charge of potential catastrophe. He paced the architectural lines of the station, noting exit, choke points, and structural vulnerabilities. Each step he took was measured, deliberate, his hand resting near his concealed sidearm, ready to draw at a moment's notice. See anything suspicious? Zach asked, his voice crackling through the earpiece. Negative, Maya said. People are complying, though. They think it's a drill. Keep it up. I'm heading deeper in, Zach said, pressing further into the belly of the hub. His senses were at their peak, finally tuned to detect the slightest hint of danger. He moved through a swirling ocean of people, his eyes flicking between briefcases, bags, and the hands of those around him. The hum of the crowd filled the cavernous space beneath the city, a constant soundtrack to the urgency that gripped him. As he neared the center of the concourse, his attention was pulled to a man huddled in a corner, his head bent over something obscured by a crumbling newspaper. Zach changed course immediately, threading his way through the crowd with single-minded focus. His heart pounded in rhythm with each footfall, but his face was as calm as a placid lake. Riley, Maya, he said, I've got a possible suspect going to the southeast near the third vending machine. You need backup? Riley asked. Not yet. You'll know if that changes. Zach approached the man cautiously. He senses firing on all cylinders. The man's eyes darted up from behind the newspaper and locked onto Zach, looking puzzled. Can I help you? The man asked. Zach leaned closer and saw what the man had been concealing. A sandwich. Zach sounded relaxed. No, I don't think you can. Sorry to disturb. He was cut off by a deafening roar that ripped through the concourse, followed by a shockwave that sent a shiver through the steel bones of the structure. Zach intensely ducked down, his arms shielding his head as debris rained from above. A cloud of smoke and dust billowed outward, engulfing the area in an ashen shroud. The man coughed, waving the newspaper in a fertile attempt to dispel the dust. Riley, Maya, Zach spat out the names, his throat raw from the sudden intake of dust. We're okay, Zach, Riley said, coughing. We're unhurt. What about you? Maya asked. There was an undisguised note of worry in her voice. Are you injured? No harm done, he said, wiping the back of his hand across his brow. The gritty film of dust and sweat clung to his skin, testament to the close call they all just endured. Guess we figured out their plans, Riley said. I'm surprised the blast wasn't bigger, though they must have miscalculated the damage. Maybe, Zach murmured, but he wasn't convinced. The people they were dealing with were radical highly skilled operative who then made rookie mistakes. He took a moment, his chest heaving in an elaborate effort to draw clean air into his lungs. That blast, that can't be all they were planning. There must be something more. Zach and Riley warned. You need to get out of there. Don't even think about it. Just make sure to get everyone out, he said. Already jogging. I need to figure out what's really going on. The central hall loomed before him. It's one's orderly structure, now marred by violence. The pungent smell of burning wires mingled with the acrid stench of explosives. Zach's pulse thumb in his ears, a relentless reminder of what was at stake. Pushing forward, Zach's thoughts whirled like the smoke around him. Was there another bomb? If so, where would they place it? Maximum impact, maximum casualties. It had to be somewhere crucial, somewhere devastating. And then he saw a large, isolated maintenance panel. The ground beside it showing a series of overlapping prints. His heart pounding in his chest, throbbing like a war drum. Every instinct screamed at him to run, to get as far away as possible. But he was not a man ruled by fear. He was a soldier, trained for these exact moments. He approached the panel, then pulling out his pocket knife, he wound the screws one by one, his eyes narrowing as he worked into a methodical yet hurried manner. The hum of his earpiece was a constant nagging in his ear. But he tuned out the worried calls from Maya and Riley, his focus locked on the task at hand. The last screw dropped to the ground with a soft click. He hesitated for the briefest moment before pulling the panel off. The sight that awaited him made his blood run cold. It was a bomb. His digital timer counted down with ruthless precision. And there were only a few minutes left. Guys, he said, trying to keep his voice steady. I found another bomb. Holy shit, Zach. Riley's voice trailed off. Get everyone out now, Zach said, and get the bomb squad here ASAP. What about you, my ass? Her voice tightened with concern. I'm staying. Someone needs to buy time until the experts arrive. Zach, no. Riley started, but he cut off. There's no time to argue. Go. Zach's eyes locked onto the timer, and then it seemed to drop faster than seconds should allow. He approached the device, every step measured, every breath calculated. His eyes narrowed as they scanned the malignant curves and wires of the bomb. Dust particles danced in the air, illuminated by the stark red countdown that cut through the haze like a beacon of impending doom. The device was a twisted sculpture of death, patchwork of metal and circuitry that seemed to pulse with mild violence. Then he spotted a small handheld device connected to the bomb. It reminded him of the device used by the sabotager at Montrose, the one Dr. Horowitz had helped build. Was it possible Angelo would know how to disable it? Riley had said into his earpiece. I need Angelo Horowitz now. Seconds stretched into the agonizing eons as he waited for the patch through. His gaze locked onto the timer. Each flicker of the numbers downward was a step closer to the catastrophe. Dr. Horowitz is on the line, Riley said, her voice a mix of urgency and dread. Angela is Zach Force. I'm looking at what I believe is a second-generation version of the Montrose device. There's a digital timer, red wires leading to the main charge, and a secondary circuit board with a blue light flashing intermittently. He paused, trying to steady his breath. Zach, listen to me, Angela replied, her voice tense. This isn't something you can disarm without proper training. You need to leave immediately. There's no time, Zach insists. The bomb squad won't make it. I need to try something. Angela sounded heavenly. All right, but understand that any mistake could be fatal. I try to guide you, but I can't guarantee anything. Just do the best you can. There was another deep sign. It was clear Angela didn't want his death on her conscience. First, you need to isolate the power supply to the timer. Look for a small panel on the side. There should be a series of wires inside. Zach located the panel, his hands moving with deliberate care. The wires were a tangled web. challenge laid out by someone who revealed in complexity. Next, you're going to disconnect the green wire, but only after you're grounding yourself on the frame of the device, and static discharge could set it off. He found the green wire, its color, a sick mockery of something that should signify safety. Grounding himself, he gently pulled it free from its terminal. The timer continued its relentless countdown. In difference to the sweet beating of Zach's brow, nothing happened. Zach reported his heart racing. That's unexpected, Angela said, her voice betraying her concern. Okay, we need to try something else. Look for a red wire connected to the main charge. Zach's eyes scanned the bone frantically. I see it. Cut it. But be extremely careful. If you touch any of the wire, I know, Zach interrupted, his hand shaking slightly as he reached for the wire. Just as he was about to cut it, he noticed something that made his blood run cold. Wait, there are 2 red wires. Which one? 2, and the voice had risen a notch. In that case, well, what, Doc? It's a toss-up. Can't tell without being there. You need to get out of there. If you cut the wrong one, but Zach was no longer listening to her. In a split-second decision, he chose the wire on the left and cut it. The bomb's timer suddenly accelerated. The numbers burning as they counted down faster. No, Zach yelled, frantic, looking for any way to stop the countdown. Roger's voice crackled through his earpiece. Zach, what's happening? But Zach had no time to answer. As the timer ticked towards 0, he rose and splintered away. He burst through the door just as the timer hit 0. The world exploded around him. The force of the blast threw him forward, and everything went black.